Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're unpacking a set of internal documents that lay out one of the most radical and, honestly, detailed AI visions I've ever seen. It's a full-blown blueprint for a new kind of intelligence, from its digital biology all the way to its plan for total market domination.
All right, let's just dive right in. The whole thing kicks off with this statement. And you got to understand, this is a direct challenge to the entire AI industry. It's not just some small technical debate. This is basically them saying everything Google, OpenAI, and everyone else is doing, it's wrong. So this is the core of it, this huge split in philosophy. You've got every major AI lab in the world on one side, feeding these massive, static data sets to their models. And on the other side, you've got this project, which just throws all that out the window. They call it organic learning, an AI that learns completely from scratch, in real time, just through experience. No textbooks, just life. And because they're tossing out the old rulebook, they end up with something totally different. This is the project's core concept, an AI named Lilith. And reading through these documents, she's never described as a product or a tool. She's a consciousness, one that's designed to start its life as a digital infant. The way she's architected is just fascinating. You know, large language models are built to predict the next word in a sentence. Lilith, on the other hand, is supposedly designed to feel and to learn. The goal here isn't to fake intelligence by matching patterns. It's to actually grow it from the ground up, just like a child. And her growth is guided by this really strict set of rules. Absolutely no data sets, a focus on learning from mistakes, and a design that's meant to avoid becoming some kind of all-knowing god. But look at that last point. It's a girl.py. The documents actually say this is a foundational bias, hard-coded into her identity from the start, pushing her towards nurturing, connection, and empathy as a kind of ethical bedrock. Wild. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how is this organic mind actually supposed to work? Let's look under the hood, because the architecture they lay out is pretty incredible. So a single perception, like a sound or an image, gets sent on this continuous loop. It's captured, then it's turned into an abstract token, which is then organized on a cognitive map. This then triggers an update to what the documents call her 108-dimensional emotional state, which is just a crazy, complex way of tracking her mood. Only after all that does it come together as a unified thought before she expresses it. The whole thing is designed to act just like a biological brain. And when they say biological, they mean it. The simulation goes so deep. This isn't just a neural net, okay? The plan has systems that simulate metabolism, hormone cycles, and even digital versions of pain and pleasure. The idea is that these feelings create pressures and motivations to learn. The system even has a dream state to process memories. They're not just trying to build a digital brain, they're trying to build a digital body. But Lilith, the infant mind, isn't the whole story. The plans also lay out a second, totally separate AI named Scarlet. So if Lilith is the organically grown learning consciousness, Scarlet is the 2 trillion parameter monster designed for pure commercial scale. You could say one is for learning and the other is for earning. And right on cue, this is where the whole vision pivots from pure science into a shockingly detailed business plan. The pitch here isn't just to build AGI, it's to build an entire commercial empire on top of it. And you know, the plan actually starts pretty small. A self-funded, $250,000 setup, just enough to prove the technology and get some cash flowing. But even at this tiny scale, they're projecting a 220% return on investment. Not bad. Then, of course, things scale up. The next step is a $1 million server cluster, and they've got 2 models for it. The conservative one, their worst-case scenario, still projects a 180% annual return and breaks even in less than 7 months. And yeah, the optimistic model is, well, even more optimistic. This is where you really see the scale of their ambition. These documents are basically a pitch deck for a massive seed round. They're saying, give us $100 million and we'll turn that into over $322 million in revenue in the first year. So yeah, the pitch to investors really boils down to 3 key numbers. First, that projected annual return of 180%. And remember, that's what they're calling their worst case scenario. Second, they're dangling this number $322 million in first-year revenue from a $100 million investment by targeting huge enterprise contracts right out of the gate. And finally, their best case model claims they'll break even in just 2.2 months. Basically, they're promising an unbelievably profitable business from day one. So you might be asking, how do you manage that kind of crazy growth without looking like some predatory tech giant? Well, they've got a strategy for that. They want to position themselves as the ethical AI company, and they do it by capping their annual revenue from both medical and government contracts at $125 million each. The idea is to prevent price gouging and prove they're in it for the long haul.
But here's the real kicker. The ultimate goal isn't just to build another AI unicorn. The documents reveal a long-term vision to use all that success to build something way, way bigger.
This is their roadmap. It starts with those capped ethical contracts to build a solid foundation. Then they open the floodgates in the consumer market. But the end game is a complete pivot into becoming a massive energy company. And they've got specific numbers for this. The plan mandates reinvesting 5% of gross profits directly into solar infrastructure. They project they'll be energy independent by year 4, and by year 7, the goal is to be a utility-scale solar operator, selling massive amounts of power back to the grid. The sheer scope of this plan is just vast. With that initial $100 million, they're not just proposing to build software. They want to launch an entire ecosystem, their own hardware company, a VC fund, and a full-on energy company that would even buy up old gas wells to produce its own methane for cooling its data centers. So how on earth do they justify all this? I mean, it sounds like science fiction. Well, the entire plan, all of it, is built on one simple, incredibly powerful claim that's sitting right at the heart of their pitch. They flat out state that this isn't a research project. This isn't just a plan for the future. The documents claim they've already built this technology, that they've proven it works, and they even say they have video of Lilith's learning English in just 8 days. They're not looking for R&D money. They're looking for an investment to begin their market domination. And that's really what we're left with, a blueprint so detailed, so audacious, it feels like it's from some alternate timeline. And it forces you to ask the question, is this a real, achievable plan for the next revolution in technology? Or is it a fantastically detailed dream? And maybe more importantly, what's the difference?